Charles Haley. You're listening to Nothing But Niners.
This is Kyle Juszczyk, and you're listening to Nothing But Niners.
So now they've got to start from deep in their end of the field, and Garrison Hurst takes advantage of it. He takes the handoff, hits to his right, gets to the 20. He's in the 30. Needs to cut in. He comes back up the right sideline. Breaks the third tackle. Comes down to the 30. He's down to the 20. He's down to the 10. He's down to the 5. He's in the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown! 49ers! 96-yard run from scrimmage. Garrison Hurst breaking tackle after tackle. Swings down the sideline. Throws off bodies like clothes after a marathon.
Young, back to throw. In trouble, he's going to be sacked. No, gets away. He runs, gets away again, goes to the 40, gets away again, to the 35, cuts back at the 30, to the 20, the 50, the 10. He died. Touchdown, 49ers.
Third down, Alex takes the snap. Alex looking down in post, and it's good. Second down, Ryan takes the snap, throws the slant to the left side. It's Russell, intercepted! The 49ers pick it, and Navarro Bowman is redemption! Navarro Bowman running it all the way for the touchdown! No greater redemption!
The San Francisco 49ers, we can do whatever we want.
Click, click, boom. What's going on, faithfuls? It's your boy Mike from Nothing But Niners Crew, and we are here, man. Tony and I are here. We're going to have another fun-filled episode. Thank you. We are going to be going over some of the roster moves that the 49ers have made. They've got some undrafted free agents in the building, touch up on some news around the team and with the league and all that stuff. But before we get to that, Tony, man, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you? How's everything by you?
I'm good, man. You guys see I got a little sty thing going over here in my eyes, getting bigger and bigger every day. So I'm going to be going to the doctors tomorrow. Got to get this thing looked at, keeping some heat on it and all. But, man, oh, man, this thing is annoying. But, you know, everything else is good, man. We can start with the formalities, and then we'll jump into some of the latest news and notes around the 49ers. If this is your first time here on the YouTube page, we hope you guys enjoy this episode. Hit that like button on the channel, subscribe to the network, and then turn on your notifications so you know exactly when we are going live. Give us a follow on some of our social media platforms. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and TikTok. Those handles are Nothing But Niners, spelled all the way out. And then we have Snapchat and X, and those handles are Nothing But 9ER. So please make sure you guys go on over there and subscribe. Also, join the Patreon community. Patreon.com/NB9ERS is the place to be, man. We have a lot of fun over there. So make sure you guys head on over there and join the party, all right? I am the guy, Mike Andrews, 83. To my right, he is Tony, also known as NJ Niner Fan 499 on the X's. And we're going to go ahead and get into it, man. Tony, first thing I saw when I woke up was that the Niners might be trying to extend their center. Is this real?
Mayoko reported it, so I mean it's got some legs to it, but I don't know, man. that's a move, but I don't know.
Like, is this just speculation? Is this just them trying to be funny, or is this really like a thing? Like,
I don't know. I mean, I was looking to replace the dude this year, but obviously that's not in the plan. So, like,
right.
You know, I'm speechless. Like, when I saw that, I was like, is this like a joke? Like, come on. Like, we're past April 1st for April Fool's Day. So I'm like, oh, wait, maybe there's a new April Fool's Day on May Fool's Day on May 1st. No, it's not that year either. So, I guess it's serious. They are talking about it in-house to replace keep him around for an extension, and I just don't understand it.
Well, how do we feel about him? I mean, is he terrible? I don't think he's terrible, right? But is he?
If he's the type of center where you need, like, all right, I know we don't like talking about this team, the Dallas Cowboys, but when they had Newton and Larry Allen, they had Mark Stepnoski, who was the center, who was undersized, couldn't anchor. He was just a very good center, calling out the protection, stuff like that. So if you're surrounded by two big physical dudes like that, it kind of like oversees your issue at center, if that makes sense. But my opinion, I feel that they need to make an upgrade at that position. And They signed a free agent, Toth from the Eagles. They signed they have a guy, Tollison from Missouri, the guy that you liked, coming into camp for them for the rookie mini camp. You know, it's just I just feel like it's time to move on. He's not getting any younger, and when you get older, your knees have more issues with them. So, you know, you got Nugent waiting in the wings on the practice squad that they kept around for 2 years. So I don't know what they're thinking, but I hope that it was like nothing serious.
All right. So, I mean, I guess we'll have to see what happens, but, you know, like, man, I don't know. Man. Invited to the 49ers rookie mini camp. All right, I'm just going to see if I can pull up a list of the players that were invited to the 49ers rookie mini camp. Because there were some guys that we also did not sign, like they weren't the UDFAs, but there were a lot of names on there. I was wondering if anybody stood out. So there's a long list.
I think there could be more guys because there's other guys that are trying out at other camps that also have invites to come to San Francisco's camp. So
yeah, there's a lot. So okay, so let's actually start there. I can do a screen share, I think. Can I? It's all right. I'm not going to do a screen share. But tell me if any of these names or players sound familiar. We'll start with the kickers really quick. Ethan Sanchez from Houston. Kenny Almendares from Louisiana. Then you got two running backs here, Bryce Duke from Utah and Roydale Williams from Florida State.
I like Williams from Florida State. I like that. I'm a Florida State fan, so I can tell you, kid runs hard. He's transferred in last year from Alabama. He's a hard runner, man. I like that kid.
Now what's it? I don't know. Let me see if I can find his size and build and all. I don't have any of that information over here. I just got the list of players here. He said this guy's from Florida State. Let me see if I can pull up his information. Bear with me 1 second. Oh, come on. Now my laptop is moving all slow motion on me right now. I don't understand why it's doing it. No, I don't have that. Let me see. All right. So this kid, he's 24 years old, 5'9", 215. It's got like a bowling ball. Played for Alabama and then went to Florida State. Okay. All right. I see what he's working with here. So no, he doesn't look bad at all. His numbers are not bad either. I'm pulling up his sports reference page here, and he's got some decent numbers. Now he looks like he's like just a spell back. He doesn't come in often. He's not the primary guy. Alabama in 2023 was his most rushing yards with 560, but he averaged 5 yards a carry with them. So it's not terrible at all. Never, like I said, doesn't look like he's the lead guy for any of the teams that he goes to, but you like to see him go from SEC to ACC. All right. These guys, man, there's so much playing experience with these guys anymore. He's a 6-year guy. 6-year guy. All right. More on these invites, though.
I think it's the last group from COVID, and it's the NIL.
Yeah.
The NIL is ruining this whole process, but that's another topic for another day.
Well, we might end up getting into it here because I wanted to ask some questions about that, but we'll get into it in a few. More players that were on the rookie minicamp invite list here. Wide receivers, Matt Henry from Western Kentucky and Deuce Spann from Pitt. Tight end Trey Williams from North Texas. Offensive lineman John Campbell from Miami. And then, like you said, the center Connor Tolson from Missouri. And then two linebackers, Caleb Perry from Louisiana and James Jackson from Virginia. All right. Tony, you just mentioned like how the NILs in 2020, like, you know, with COVID and everything affecting stuff the way that it did, a lot of the players are older. There was some knocks, and I still can't find it, but the GM that said, we ended up drafting a tight end that had no catches last year. Mm-hmm. they're talking about how the back end of the draft was so bad, yet they bring in a lot of undrafted free agents. I don't quite understand. If the draft was bad, where do you get all these undrafted free agents from? Or is this just roster filling? Like, is it possible it's just roster filling? Because they signed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys.
Yeah.
They signed 8 undrafted free agents.
It's a bit of roster filling, and it's a bit of giving people an opportunity to come in and compete. Clearly, they're not happy with what they saw from Farrell last year. So what do? They bring Dinkins in from Penn State, who's a blocking machine, who gives you a little bit more athleticism as a receiver. So that's an opportunity for him to come in. Kamara, it's all hands on deck, I think, for that defensive line. I think that defensive line is probably going to be something that needed to be done, and they needed to upgrade it across the board, inside, outside, depth purposely. But being that the 49ers last pick was in high 5th round, they went all the rest of the 5th round, all of the 6th, all of the 7th with no picks. So, we'll get into the picks in the 5th round and the 4th round, but you take shots on some guys, and like some guys that they reached for him here. Yeah, it might have been a reach, but I mean, if they feel that he couldn't make it through for the rest of the draft because they didn't have any picks, and he would have been swooped up in free agency if he did make it to undrafted free agency, if they felt that highly, take him. Like that's where I'm at. Like, I understand, everyone's pushing the value narrative. I understand that. I've been watching the draft for 30 plus years. Everybody wants to be that team. Oh, they crushed it. They hit it out of the park. This guy had a 1st round grade. They got him in the 3rd round. This guy had a 2nd round grade. They got him in the 4th round. Everyone wants to be like the banner draft where everyone talks about it against social media. But I got into a little debate with somebody through a DM, and I said to them, when was the last time a player, it mattered where a player was drafted and what value had returned in order to win a championship? It's relevant. Right. And we talk about our boards, like for example, another Niners. There's you, there's me, there's Wayne, and I will put probably my house, my pension, my IRAs, my deferred comp, all on the fact that I guarantee you our boards don't look the same. So what does it matter about consensus for the league when I bet you $20 Mendoza wasn't even on the board for the 49ers? I bet you 20 guys in the top 10 weren't even on the board.
True.
So it's I understand what people are trying to bring up, that narrative consensus. Yes, you should keep an eye on it, but to say I'm balancing my draft off of the consensus the value chart of a big board where Dane Brugler, where Mel Kiper's drafting is ranking 350 draftable players. The 49ers are not doing that.
Right.
So the boards are going to be totally off. Wow.
Right. And Mel Kiper's doing every position,
exactly.
For
the best player in the draft to the best tackle, the best guard, the best all the way down.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just sat back for this week and I just watched, and I'm just saying, okay, everyone's. I remember I listened to podcasts the Sunday after the draft, and there people are going nuts. This. But the more and more that comes out from the national media about Stribling, how Stribling was blowing up the charts, how Stribling would have been gone by the middle of the 2nd round, how Stribling was the number 1 wide receiver on 2 teams' boards.
I like these. But no one's saying who though. That's what I don't get. This is the Diana Rossini thing that's happening all over again.
Yeah, but if you're an insider, if you're an insider, you can't tip your cap because you'll get no more information. So they keep it neutral. Oh, well, I heard there's 2 teams that have him as their top wide receiver. And then you guys sit there. I'll tell you this right now, and I will stand firm by this. I think the Rams would have taken him in the 2nd round with no questions asked. I think he is what the Rams look for in their receivers. Look at what they have. Devontae Adams, skill set. Look at Puka's skill set. Look at Cooper Kupp's skill set. This is similar skill sets to him. I'm not talking about speed. I'm just talking about what they do. They get the ball in the hands, they turn upfield, and they go. So it's like, why are the Niners being penalized for taking their guy? I don't understand it, but we're not here to talk about this, but I just found it.
Well, no, we can absolutely go over it. So we haven't done a show in a while with us, so we can talk about the 49ers draft class and the undrafted free agents, man. As time has settled in, I've starting to really like some of these players. I'm not going to lie to you, man. And between the two groups, the draft class and the undrafted free agents, like you said something earlier. This is the year for the defensive line. I mean, they signed 3 more defensive linemen as undrafted free agents, Tony. Like they're going all in. Defensive tackles, you trade for one. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like these guys are going all in. They've got to reap some benefits this year. They absolutely have to reap some benefits. I mean, look at this, man. Grayson Halton, right? He comes in here. You got Bryson Eason from Tennessee. You've got Michael Kamara from Indiana. You've got James Thompson from Illinois. These guys they're not just like some shabby, like these don't feel like roster fillers.
No.
These players don't feel like roster fillers. When you look at the tape of these guys, I mean, there was some, I'm going to say lazy moments from Thompson when I go and look at like the tape of him, but that's moments, right? There's going to be times where I don't care who you are, these guys are gassed and they're standing with their hands on their hips, so you're going to see that. But when they're going, when you see these motors, when you see how the effort that these guys are playing with, it's good. And we're going to need a rotation of defensive linemen. So let's start there, man. The players in particular, again, Houghton, Eason, Kamara, and Thompson. Anything stand out to you about any of these guys?
The undrafted free agents you're talking about, right? Yeah.
Yeah, even the 4th round pick in Grayson.
Oh, Holton. Grace Holton. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, just real quick about the defensive line. We're talking about, like Mike said, Holton, the defensive tackle. They traded for Osa Odigizua. I said it. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So just one quick thing. And I'm not saying John Lynch is the best drafter. I don't think he's a good drafter. I don't think his strength is in collegiate personnel. I don't. I just feel like he's trying to find the perfect player, whether it's skill set, behavior, off the field, medical, like stuff like that. And I think he's having a difficulty time doing it. But with that being said, let's talk about what John Lynch did. He traded in the beginning of the free agency for Osa Odigizua. They traded the 92nd pick overall in the 3rd round of 2026. Okay, they brought in a pass rush and 3 technique, which we definitely need. The draft comes around, and at pick 407, okay, being that there was a trade that they were able to get extra picks and move down in the draft, they draft Grace Holton. So you're telling me you're not going to give this guy credit for trading their original 3rd, trading a player who probably didn't fit in his defense and what they're looking for and was on the last year of his deal, getting a 5th round back for him in D. Winters. Thank you for everything you've done with D. Winters for the 49ers. Picking up another defensive tackle and then picking up compensation over at and getting yourself back into the 3rd round. That's something that needs to be discussed. Like that's very good finagling by a general manager. So that's a plus side of it. But as far as the draft-wise and stuff like that, Grace Holton is a typical pass rush and 3 technique, 6'2", 292, or some publications have him as 290. I saw one to 292. Quick twitch, high motor, very physical, good with his hands, strike to the best breastplate, gets the lineman, off balance. He can shoot the gaps with ease. He's very quick twitched. So you're adding that piece, right? So I think right now, watching that team last year, they were decimated. The whole team was decimated. I don't give a shit what anybody says. That defensive line was decimated. If you watch that playoff game versus Seattle it looked like it was the practice squad playing versus the starters of Seattle. But it is what it is. Injuries happen. It is what it is. You get through it. You move on, put it behind you. It's a new season. So clearly, they said we need to do something with this defensive line. I don't think this has any shot at Collins or CJ West. I think they're pieces for this roster and its future going forward. But where I see the change could be coming is going to be the individuals. Wait, just 1 second. I got to get back down to my depth chart. For the individuals, so we have Osa, Collins, CJ West. Those are your top three interiors. Behind them, it was only Sebastian Valdez, an undrafted free agent, and Anderson, undrafted free agent from the year previous. So right then and there, Gross Matos wasn't brought back as an inside-outside. Who was the other defensive? Callie Davis was not there either. So you need bodies to replace what you lost or chose to move on from. So that, with that being said, you got Osa, Collins, West, and now you insert your rookie class. So now you have Holton coming in. He's the leader of the Packers. He was drafted. Then you have a run stuffer who I see watching him looks kind of like DJ Jones. And I know everyone says, oh, DJ Jones. Well, this dude is stout, and he's quick, he's twitched, he's strong, and he's like a fire hydrant. He's hard to move. But he could also double down as a pass rusher defensive tackle if needed or if given the opportunity.
That's what he's going to be.
Bryson
Holton's going to be a pass rusher.
Yeah, and I'm talking about Bryson Eason from Tennessee, who offers a similar thing, but he's bigger. He's checking in at 6'2", 320. So you got a more physical presence there. And the other defensive tackle, somebody who I was very high on,
James Thompson.
He caught my eye at the East-West Shrine game. So then once you catch my eye, I dig on you. I thought he was better at Wisconsin than he was at Illinois. I don't know if it was the scheme or how they used him, but Thompson's a hell of a ball player. He's more of your 6'5", 300-pound defensive tackle, more linear body who maybe could slide outside and a base down. I don't know. But these dudes, what they did to this defensive line, they gave them like a little bit of an overhaul on the inside, in my opinion. I think the outside is something that could be talked about. I think there's probably a move or two coming down the road. But the interior of this defensive line, I think the overhaul is going to shock a lot of people with the style of guys that they're bringing in.
Yeah, I want to take us off track for just 1 second. I saw this comment here. Kyle only watches highlights, bro. Game over. And then the next one says Kyle is just lazy. So I don't defend Kyle often, and I definitely don't mind people throwing shots at him, right? I love it. But I think that quote was taken out of context a lot and all over the place. Kyle says that he doesn't watch, hundreds and hundreds of players. He says, I put the staff together and they give me highlights of players, and if the highlights don't look good, I don't look into them anymore, is what he was saying. If your highlights don't look good, I'm not going to waste time watching more film on that person. So if the highlights do intrigue him, then that means he will do more research and look into the players more. I just thought that was like so taken out of context. Like people were really killing him for that. And I was like, he's absolutely right.
I think
that was my opinion.
I'll be honest with you. That's what I do. I'm not going to lie. If
the highlights don't look good, why are we going to keep watching?
I don't see anything wrong with it. I think people are trying to spin it as him being lazy, like you said. And, like, oh, well, he doesn't care. Well, I mean, not for nothing. Did you see the season that Kyle Shanahan just had a coach and go through with all the injuries? The people are out, coming up with game plans week in and week out to, like, compete with these teams. Like, listen, you have your group of people that can't stand Kyle and John Lynch, and you have your group of people that could see through the bullshit and see what they're truly going through. And, you got to alleviate which one of you are part of. Me personally, is Kyle perfect? No. Is he the best coach in the NFL? Head coach? No. Do I think he's the best offensive mind and play caller in the NFL? I'll put him up there with anybody, 100%. What he was able to do this season with the talent and the personnel that he was able to do it with the people that were missing, specifically on offense, I just feel in like, everyone, we're going to get into that later, but I know everyone wants to win a championship. They've been around it twice. They really should have won that last Super Bowl, but it is what it is. They didn't. But listen, if you guys don't want it, I like people don't like Kyle, fire him. You want to go back to the Dennis Erickson, Jim Tom Sula days? Sure, go ahead. Okay. The last consistent coach this organization, this franchise has had was Bill Walsh compared to Kyle Shanahan. And I'm not comparing them. I'm comparing in the sustained duration of their time as being the head coach of this team. No one has come close. Harbaugh was done in 4. Mariucci was done in 5, 4. I don't remember Mariucci. Nolan was a waste. Like it's frustrating because we want a championship. And we know how good this team could be. But I promise you, if they decide to fire him, he'll have a job tomorrow. You will see a coach get fired to bring Kyle Shanahan in. That's
for sure.
That's the way
for sure. Yeah, he's definitely one of those minds, man. You can't ignore it. You know what I mean? So
I'm not saying
people start. Yeah, no, he's far from perfect. I'm trying to find this, and I did not mean to exclude Romello Height in the defensive line conversation, guys. Obviously, I think we all really, really like Romello Height. I think after the pick, it was like, okay, cool. And then after you look at it more, it's like, holy smokes, like this kid is really good. I was trying to find, someone did a breakdown of Romello Height, right? And they were comparing him to the guy opposite of him who went in the first round. And yeah, it was Bailey, right? But in the film, they were showing them. I wish I could find this breakdown. Let me see. They show them like at the same time doing the same plays, and you see Height just completely dominating over and over and over. Like it was is this it right here? No. Oh my God. I really wish I could find it, bro.
This is the narrative, right, Mike? When the pick comes in, you have the instant reaction. They do their breakdown on ESPN or NFL Network, even though they're the same network now. But whatever one you choose to watch, they give their opinion. The first thing out of their mouth is the age, right? Then followed by, like, this is just from listening to podcasts. You get the age, you get his weight, and then you get his shoulder issues that he had surgery on. His surgery from his shoulders, I think, took place, if I'm correct, at, I want to say either Auburn or SC. I think it was Auburn because he was 2 years there, 1 year at SC, Georgia Tech, or 2 years at Georgia Tech, and then he went to Texas Tech. So, now with that being said, if he played a full season with no issues, that means the surgery held up. It's intact. There was people calling to draft Chris Bell in the bottom of round 1, a guy who just came off of an ACL injury. But we're talking about knocking the 49ers for taking a guy that the 49ers could not do at all last year in getting to the quarterback who had 2 shoulder surgeries more than 2 years ago and played a full season with no setbacks. Doesn't not even wear harnesses, I don't even think. Right? You talk about the Marcus Lawrence, not the Marcus Lawrence, Malachi Lawrence, right? Everybody wanted him. My man looked like Robo Edge. He had double knee braces on, double harnesses on his shoulder. Like, that's what I'm just trying to piece together. Where's the consistency, right? If I'm saying I want a guy that can get to the quarterback, and he's 25 years old, and this dude is 23 years old, I'm going with the 25-year-old. You want to know why? He proved it. His injuries are behind him. And you see what he does, and you see how much better potentially he could get when he's surrounded by other dudes, right?
Yeah.
All he keeps saying about this poor kid Well, he did play next to the number 2 overall pick in the draft. Oh, I'm sorry. The 49ers have a number 2 overall pick in the draft. And they also have a number 11 overall pick in the draft. And they also have 2-3 studs as 3 defensive tackles. He ain't going to no schlep team.
Come on. You cooking. You cooking, bro.
I just don't understand. Like, what are we doing? Right? There's a pattern. If you have not noticed the pattern with this draft class, they're going with guys with more playing experience at the collegiate level. Number one, is that their choice? I'm not going to say yes. I'm
not necessarily.
I'm not going to say yes. I'm not going to say no. Is it because of the NIL? More than yes. I would say that's probably why we're getting the older players. You throw in a medical redshirt year, could bump a guy up. But, I mean, Jesus God, it's not like they're like the 49ers, it seems like their thought processes, and I think you could agree with this. If this team comes in 100% healthy and they're able to bring in a veteran edge, whether it's the gentleman from the Saints, what's his name? Oh, God.
You're talking about Cam?
Cam. If they bring Cam Jordan in, or if it's Joey Bosa, or if it's another edge that could come in, be a part of the rotation, if this team could stay healthy, all right, and they add a safety to the room to compete, if they could stay healthy, there's no reason why I think they could compete for a playoff spot 100%. But if they stay healthy, I think this team could push. Not saying guaranteed they're making it, but they could push. Now, the flip side of it, right? We took 21-year-old Mikael Williams last year to Georgia at 11, right? Mikael Williams is a ball of clay that you need to mold. 21 years old, played in a basic rotational defense in Georgia. You know what he does well. He sets an edge. He's a physical defensive end. You know what he does well. What you have to mold now is his pass rush, right? The 2026 draft, we're taking an edge player who's 25 years old and has a ton of collegiate experience and production. There's no molding. This is a player that's going to come in and be given an opportunity to compete. Me personally, if there's people watching this, they can laugh, they can say what you want. Watching him at Georgia Tech, watching him at Texas Tech, some film at USC, I think there's honestly a strong possibility that he could compete, not be given, compete for an opportunity to start at the strong side linebacker position for the 49ers. Now, why do I say this, right? How easy would it be for Raheem Morris, our new defensive coordinator, who likes to use 5-man fronts, to go in and out of a 5-man front when this kid's on the field already? There's no personnel package switches. You walk your strong side linebacker up to the line of scrimmage. Guess what? Now he's a pass rusher. All right. I seen this kid come flying off the edge. I seen this kid come head up over the center, shoot a gap between the guard and the tackle. I seen this kid come from every angle. And what this kid could also do is drop and play hook to flat, which is, which is responsibility of the outside linebacker. So it gives Raheem Morris that chess piece for interchangeable and versatility, whether he wants to go to 5 to 4, 5 to 4. And it could be instantaneous. They could call it, Fred Warner could say, tap his hell in on the right side. All right, that means 5-man front. Walk up on the line of scrimmage. Right there.
Yep. Yeah. And I think that's what they're looking for, too. They want to be able to do that. It's correct. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. But I'm like, just, I don't know.
You're getting excited. You're getting excited.
And I'm not saying this team's a lock for a Super Bowl. I'm not. This team has a way to go. They have to gel. This defense has to come together with Raheem Morris. There's a lot that needs to take place for this team to go to a Super Bowl or even compete for a Super Bowl. But if you go back and if I ask you, Mike, do me a favor. all the way back to, let's say, Mariucci's days. Name me 5 or 10 linebackers that you think were like really good linebackers for the 49ers.
For the Niners?
Yeah.
I mean, you got the obvious Patrick Willis, Navarro Bowman.
Yeah, not them. Like, they're the elites. Like Bowman, Willis, like Fred Warner, they're the elites. But think of somebody like that was there and just played their position really well.
Takeo Spikes when he was here. I mean, I know it was short-lived, but he played his position really, really well.
Okay.
Oh, God. Other linebackers that came in and played well. I mean, Chris Borland, he played really well while he was here. Other linebackers. I mean, are you counting guys like Alden Smith, who was an outside linebacker? That's a good one. Jeff Ulbrich, that's a good one. Ahmad Brooks was phenomenal. I love the Ahmad Brooks here. They're saying Lee Woodall, Ken Norton Jr. You're getting a lot of names, man.
All right, I'm gonna give you a name. Granted, he's not as fast as it. There you go. Didn't have to say it.
Julian Peterson.
In my eyes, Julian Peterson was brought in here to be a pass rusher. Julian Peterson developed into a full-time linebacker who was able to drop in coverage, cover guys, all this stuff. Very similar body to Romello Height. I think Romello Height's a better pass rusher. I think Romello Height was a true defensive end rather than Julian Peterson. I just feel like, yeah, that's another one. Duggar could be talked about in the same conversation. But I just feel that the Niners could use Romello Height in that Julian Peterson role where he could come up to the line of scrimmage, blitz, he could pass rush off the edge, and he could drop the hook to flat and take away, as a strong side linebacker does. And then in third and long situations, he comes in and he's the edge guy with one job: go get the quarterback in a passing situation. So I understand. He's older. I understand a lot of these guys are older, but they're more mature. They're more experienced. And in my opinion, they're more in their prime right now. They're not going to get any bigger. They're not going to get any faster. They're not going to get any stronger than what they already are. This tells me that they're trying to put pieces in place. And again, I'm not saying this is an A-plus draft. It's not whatsoever. But I see, especially with those 2 picks, the first 2 picks, I see what they are doing there. Especially with the first pick.
All right. Let's go. Let's keep this thing moving here. Let's talk about some more of these undrafted free agents that they signed. Let's start with the punter. Let's go ahead and talk about Jack Bauermeister, the Texas punter. When I looked up like the punt prospects, there was only 5 of them, and he was not one of them. Yeah. And 3 of the guys are still available. I'm curious as to how they determine who to sign as a free agent punter. Now, I'm going to try to pull up his stats. All right, so give me a second. Let me see if I can find anything on him. But I'm curious to know your thoughts on him, if you have any at all, because it's hard to have thoughts on the punter. Right?
I didn't even look him up. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah. Bowmeister? Is it Bo or Bow? Bo. I think it's Bo. So here we go. His yards per punt are over 40, so that's good. His career high was his second year with Utah, and it was 45.5. And he stays in that area. 44.5 is the low. I mean, he's got a decent leg on him. One thing that I feel bad about punters when you're looking at how far they kick the ball, like first of all, how far back the snap is, they're booming that thing, but they don't measure until it gets to the line of scrimmage. It kind of sucks for them. You know what I'm saying? Like these guys have huge legs, and it just doesn't go anywhere. What are the Niners' plans at the punter position? Is he the answer? Like that? He's here and that's it?
I think they're gonna let him and the guy that we signed compete.
Just let him compete it out.
That's it. I mean, he's a left-legged punter. The guy that we signed, I don't even know his name. The guy that we signed is a left-legged punter, and the other dude's a right-legged punter.
Let me see here. 49ers.
Spillman or
punter.
something.
49ers punter. All right. So Waitman. Right? Is that it?
Yeah.
Corliss Waitman. 1 year, $1.29 million contract. Was the guy that they signed here. So they say he replaces Thomas Morstead. But again, it's just a 1 year deal, only worth it's less than $1.5 million. It doesn't tell me that the job is his for the taking.
No, they're going to compete. They're going to let them just go at it, the two of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, formerly with the Steelers. Yeah, I kind of like that. I do. I think that they should do that for positions that are up in the air. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think that that's something that they should do all the time. You know, sign a veteran, and then you bring a rookie in and let these guys go to war over it. Thank you, Sin, for the super chat here. Sin gives us our first super chat of the episode. Where are we at? There it is, right there. Mike and Tony. Good afternoon, Sin. Glad you could be with us. And shout out to everybody else in the chat, too. You guys have been phenomenal. You guys have all been contributing. I really do appreciate you guys. So we'll move on. Not a whole lot to dive deep there. Let's go now to the position that I think was most in need. I think a lot of us had us drafting this position. But again, when you hear that GM say we signed a tight end that didn't have any catches last year, the Niners go out and they get one from Penn State. Now, Penn State, there's one thing I think about with Penn State, and it's linebackers. I don't know what it is about Penn State linebackers. I love them. But they go out there and they get a tight end, Khalil Dinkins. And the kid, he seems like he's all heart, he's all motor. But what are we really getting out of this guy, Tony? What are your thoughts on him?
He's just he's a block first guy. Listen, he was in the shadow of playing with Tyler Warren, the guy who was drafted last year. And he was tight end too, clamped right off to his left or his right, depending on what side of the formation they are. And, you know, his job was block, and he was the check down option, right? They would look touchdown to check down. Warren was down the field for the touchdown, and Dinkins was to drop the check down to the tight end to the flat. He shows you some athleticism when he gets the ball in his hands. Good hands, good catching ability. But he's known to block. And you know what? Watching him, he has some pretty decent blocking reps on a couple occasions. Off the top of my head, I forgot what game I was watching where he just leveled somebody, and I was just like, God damn. But he's not gonna come in and like be your tight end one by all means. But you never know.
He's no pass catching machine. Yeah, I mean he's got a total of 37 career collegiate receptions.
Yeah,
that's it.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I will say this: when we signed George Kittle, right? When we signed George Kittle, I was thinking like, oh God, like they wasted time. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I was not a fan of the George Kittle signing, but George Kittle only had 40 career receptions. So we're talking about a difference of 5, right? And look at what he turned into. I'm not saying that this guy can turn into George Kittle, so please no one take that the wrong way, right? But you look at 6'4", 247 is what George Kittle was coming out of college. This guy is 6'4", 221. So a little leaner frame, but I think he's just as physical as George Kittle is as far as, like you said, like the blocking ability. Now, Kittle's more refined, more assignment type, and Kittle can engage and drive through people. This guy, he actually levels people when he's blocking them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you see him decleat guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, it is what it is. We'll see how it pans out. He's got 3 receptions less than George Kittle. So, you know, I'm done trying to judge tight ends based off of their collegiate production, because when we signed the guy from Ohio State, you were like, Mike, maybe this is the guy. Maybe this is the guy that can come in and, be a pass catcher for us, and then they didn't target him like at all. You know what I mean? So like it was like damned if you do, damned if you don't. But we'll see. We have to see how it pans out. I liked. I saw a little interview with the kid. We have not done any of the breakdowns yet of the guys' pressers, and I'm going to do that in a different show where we just have them on. You know how they get the phone call and everything, and I'll run through those really quick just to feel the guys out. But we're not going to do that in this episode. We'll do that later on. But the interview that I saw from him, just grateful for the opportunity. He seems very, very humble. Any other thoughts on him?
Listen, I mean, he has upside. So obviously they saw something, right? They offer him 250 guaranteed, and to get him to sign on the dotted line for San Francisco, because if there's that, what tells me is that if they went up to 250, people were beating on his door to get him. So they didn't really address the tight end position in free agency. I don't think off the top of my head, other than Tonjes. Kittle, they're saying maybe. I can't see any way in hell he's going to be ready for week 1. Even if he is, I still wouldn't push it because, that's the time frame is ridiculous. But with that being said, listen, let him come in and compete. And maybe there's an instance where there's an occasion where he pushes Farrell down the depth chart and the Niners move on from him. Clean up some cap space, eat a little dead money, and now you have someone that you could develop, right? So listen, worst comes to worst, maybe they found something. If not, you're adding depth and competition to the back end of the roster for the tight end spot. Are you frozen? I can't hear you.
Oh, I've been talking this whole time. My bad, bro. I was on mute. I apologize about that. I was saying I was trying to see if there was a write-up on him on the site that I use for tight ends, but he didn't make the site. So
I have it. I could read it real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's break that down really quick.
Wide athleticism combo looks the part of a big physical wide receiver opposed to a tight end and moves like one as well. Functional strength leverage shows in the blocking department. He's able to latch on to defenders, run his feet, and get guys up out of the way. Catches the ball well on the catches the ball with both on the move and with the ball coming right at him. I guess I forgot the hands, maybe. Long strider that has an ability to really giddy up and go after the catch. Areas of improvement. Would like to see his physicality show up more within his route running with regards to owning his positioning. At times, defenders are able to reroute him or pin him to the sidelines. He was ranked in Emory Hunt's draft guide as the number 4 flex tight end. He ranked him as an 80 in catching, athleticism 80, versatility 75, agility 75, quickness 75, speed 76, route running 74, play strength 83, awareness 75, explosiveness 76, elusiveness 74, blocking 85, overall grade 76.
Okay. All right. So then we'll see. We might have something there. I'm very excited about this prospect, and hopefully things work out for him. We'll keep this thing moving, man. The next one, I want to stick to the offensive side of the ball because I feel like this is where we really needed to improve. I don't know, man. You were talking about how we just didn't look good against Seattle, man. The offense just could not get going. So, boom, we insert a tight end. Let's go to the wide receiver now. The undrafted wide receiver that they signed, his name is Wesley Grimes. All right. Now, with this kid, Tony,
Speed.
Yeah. So is this official? This 4.2440? Is that real?
I don't know.
That's what I'm seeing here, and I can't tell if this is real or not. But 6'2", running a 4.2440 is insane. If that's real, it says 35 inches at his pro day for his vertical leap. I'm sorry, 35 inches official pro day to 38.6. What does that mean? Like, how does it have a range? Like, what? But it says here, his 4.24 40-yard dash is particularly notable as it would be one of the fastest times ever for a prospect, just shy of the NFL Combine record. Scouts highlight him as a technical receiver with fluid change of direction and excellent tracking skills. And they actually have a Deshaun Stribling comparison here. 6'2" guy, plays around 194, 195. Tony, what were your thoughts on him?
Listen, he's an influx with speed. According to my guide, I hear from Emory Hunt, terrific route runner. who knows how to attack leverage extremely well. He's able to get to the defensive back to declare his intentions first before making his moves. Silky smooth acceleration with his stem allows him to chew up as much ground as possible. And once he breaks, he's able to create the separation necessary. I think he tracks the ball. I think he tracks the deep ball really well, playing it like a center fielder before doing what's necessary to make the grab. So, and then his areas improvement is still has his strength is an issue and struggles a little bit off of a bump and run coverage.
Well, and that explains this because of his size, right? He's 6'2", but he's lanky, you know, only 190, 195-ish. But, man, the Niners, you know, for years, Tony, I've been saying, let's get away from this 5'11", 6-foot thing. Here they go with Stribling, over 6'2". Here's this guy, over 6'2", and they're getting speed. I think that they're looking for something, guys. Like the numbers speak for themselves. They're looking for something. They want to change the dynamic of this offense. Now, I think I personally would have started with offensive line, you know, but we'll get to that. There are some offensive linemen. The next guy that they have here, where'd it go? Where's my list go here? Wide receiver Will Pauling from Notre Dame. All right, what were your thoughts on Will Pauling, Tony?
He's undersized slot guy. He transferred in from I forgot where he transferred from. But he's like he's your typical slot dude. He's first quick step suddenness is a legit issue for defensive backs. He's able to get to them on their heels before making his break. Very good acceleration, eats up a ton of cushion in coverage. Good rack guy, special teams. Could use some refinement with regards to how he attacks underneath zones. Needs to be much more assertive when working through the zone. Does allow himself to get thrown off course when faced from a defender. Needs to be better moving through contact. And he's as 18th slot receiver.
Right. They have his projected 40 time, not his actual 40, because I don't think he actually did anything. Was 4.48. But this guy, is this right? Is he only 5 feet? Like, that can't be right.
It's 5'9".
This 5'9". Okay. I was going to say, because this site definitely has a glitch here. They hit the 0 instead of a 9. It says Notre Dame had a dynamic offense led by their dual-headed monster at running back and a group of talented receivers and tight ends. Thus, it was difficult for a lot of their receivers to stand out this season, but a number of them played well and limited opportunities to show next-level ability. Pauling was one of those under-the-radar players, but team sources say he was impressive on tape and with his route-running instincts and feel. Pauling had 26 catches for 381 total yards and scored touchdowns on 6 of those catches. Pauling is also known to be a high-character individual and great leader. Despite only being at Notre Dame a few months after transferring from Wisconsin, and before Wisconsin he was with Cincinnati for 2 seasons, Pauling was elected a captain by his teammates. Some sources think the potential is there for Pauling to be a mid-round steal in the 2026 draft. Now, obviously, he didn't get drafted at all, but that says something. That means that people were high on him. They liked what they saw from him, like you said, a slot guy. And imagine coming in and being voted captain so quickly. That speaks volumes about the guy's character. That speaks about his locker room presence. You know what I mean? So very interesting. Again, 2 years.
It was cool.
Yep. 2 years at Cincinnati. And as a freshman, he only had the 1 reception. He didn't get many looks. And then the second year at Cincinnati, again, not many opportunities, 12 receptions for 122 yards, 1 touchdown. I'm sorry, no. Where'd it go? Yeah, no touchdown there. But then when he goes to Wisconsin, he had a good year there, 74 receptions, averaged over 11 yards of reception, and 6 touchdowns there. And then the second year at Wisconsin had a little bit of a dip in productivity there, only 42 receptions and 3 touchdowns. But again, Notre Dame, his final year, 26 receptions, but 6 of them went for touchdowns. That's saying something. And it was impressive, man. His best year as far as yards per reception had 14.7, so he got better and better the longer he played. And in a bigger system, if I'm being honest with you guys. So I like that. I really, really do like it. And And hopefully this guy can come in here and just compete. 5'10" guy. Oh, that's why Tony has 5'9". This is listed as 5'10". So, but only 165 pounds. So I mean, he's a small guy. He's going to move a lot. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. They say it was Martinez's quarterback. What year are you talking about? All right. So yeah, this is an interesting signing here for the Niners. Will Pauling. Let me see if they have his. Yeah, it was projected 40 time was 4.48, but we don't really know for sure.
Sorry about that.
You're good. So no, it's all good. Thoughts on Pauling? Anything else?
No. I mean, listen, he's going to compete. There's something going on right here. Like this, as I just took this phone call, something just popped in my head. But there's something going on, and like people, like I heard, like podcasts talking about, the 49ers. They don't bring people in for competition to take the starters' jobs away, all that stuff because the Cabo clique. Listen, if you don't see the handwriting on the wall, what they did this offseason, they redid their interior, their defensive line. There's no question about it. You can't deny it. If you look at the receiver group, it's another position group that was overhauled. Why? More bigger dudes. Mike Evans. Obviously, Kirk isn't big, but he's a slot guy. Now, is there a scenario where Pauling comes in and competes versus Kirk and takes his job? If that happens, I think we all would be impressed, right? You're beating out a veteran that was brought in to be more explosive out of the slot. So the Niners do things their ways, but they do it different than other teams do. So I think that's part of the issue because people say, well, look at how the number one, the top comeback is, well, look how Howie Roseman does it. Well, look how Howie Roseman does it. So Howie Roseman is the Eagles. He runs the Eagles. John Lynch doesn't run the Eagles. Kyle Shanahan does. He's the 49ers. So it's two different styles. It's constructed two different ways where the power is at. So it's different. So this is another position group that they're coming in and trying to overhaul and upgrade it. Because clearly when you watch that Seattle game, they couldn't create separation. They couldn't get away. Jawan Jennings played his ass off last year, 100%. But you need somebody to go deep, and that's where Mike Evans comes in. You need somebody who's quick to work the middle of the field. That's where potentially Stribling could come in. That's potentially where, we all know what Kirk is going to be doing. That's what Kirk does. Could it be that maybe Watkins and Cowing might be in trouble? Because I got news for you. If you take Watkins and Cowing and then anything behind them, I don't see anybody that has any opportunity. Let me just double check before I say this. Yeah, Dowell, Malik Turner, Junior Bergen behind. DeMarcus Robinson's still there. Ricky Pearsall's still there. But as of right now, if you roll the balls out, pause on the field and say, let's compete, you got Evans, Pearsall, Robinson, Watkins, Cowing. That's your top five. You had Kirk in, that's 6. So they're upgrading the wide receiver group. So, listen, not everybody's happy with the way they do it. No, you can't make everybody happy in this world, obviously. But, listen, what happens if what I want to happen so bad is this team goes into this season and wins the Super Bowl and just totally dominates. Because you could put the way they draft, you could put all this negative narrative to bed. And I'm not saying this based off of as a 49er homer, but if you look at their history as undrafted free agents, if you look at their late round pick history, right? Where would this organization be, Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, if it was not for Brock Purdy, the last pick of the draft? Where would they be? They might not be here, those two guys. Any coach that forfeits 3 first-round picks and absolutely whiffs on a quarterback, you don't have the clock starts. Unfortunately, they got 2 resets.
You've never seen anybody survive that. You've never seen a head coach GM combination survive what those 2 survived. You don't see it. You don't see it. So, I mean, knock on wood, they did it. They got saved, but barely. I will say this. If they take roster politics out of it and let the top 6 receivers rise to the top, we could field a really good wide receiving core this year, Tony. A really, really good one. And I'm hoping Watkins gets another shot. I said it a while ago. I'm going to say it again. With Stribling coming in, his former teammate, I think it could boost morale. I think Mike Evans takes Stribling under his wing, and I think Stribling takes Watkins under his wing. You know what I mean? And I think that these guys all of a sudden form a really good wide receiving core and just set the message right. I don't expect anything from Cowling. I kind of feel bad for the kid, but if he can't pick up the offense, then that's what it is. We've seen the team force guys onto the field that couldn't pick up the offense or defense. I mean, they did it with Reuben Foster. They really wanted him to play the mic, and he just couldn't do it. So they didn't put him there. But I want to see these guys not play the politics game, right? I think Mike Evans is going to be safe. I don't think that they're going to bring him in and say, well, these guys are going to be better than I don't see that happening. But there's nobody else that is just a guaranteed starter. I mean, Ricky Pearsall is going to get it, but that's roster politics, right? And he's also shown some flashes, right? So, but between him and how often he's dinged up, I just don't know that the wide receiving room is worse. It's definitely not worse than what it was last year. It's not. I'm sorry, but it's not. With the pieces that they've added, they're bringing in guys, refined runners. They've upgraded with speed. I mean, they just let these guys go out there and play now. You know what I'm saying? Like now it's like, let's go out there and be real about what we're seeing. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if Christian Kirk is safe. He might be the shock release. You know what I'm saying? When it's time to start making roster cuts.
Obviously, what I think they're looking at right now, I think in their head, their ideal situation would be for – hold on one second. I got to move my depth chart thing again here. I think their ideal situation would be for – I think Kirk could make it maybe for Stribling to be a starter. But now it gets difficult because Stribling is probably going to be an X. So the Z would need to be replaced. So what I don't know how they would do it. So what I would kill to see is you put Stribling, Evans, and Pearsall on the field. That, and then in rotations, like certain packages where Kirk would be the slot, vice versa, and you rotate them in and out. I think if the 49ers could walk away for this with Evans, Pearsall, Stribling, Kirk, Watkins, and one of those rookies that they brought in bumps Cowling.
And Robinson. Robinson's not safe either. Let's be honest.
That's the other guy. I forgot. If that's now you're flipping from moving on from a 4-5 guy, maybe a 4-6 guy, I think Robinson was. And you're putting the speed element into this offense, other than obviously Mike Evans. But another major factor is this is Mike Evans' room. He's going to be the tone setter, and he's the guy of this room. And I think that it was something that this room was missing last year. That veteran, they're like, all right, come on, let's go, guys. This is my room. Jennings, I don't think was that type of person. Jennings put it on the field and set the tone on the field. But the leadership in the room and the workouts and the practice during the film, during the game plan, I think that's where Evans is going to make a significant impact, not only on the field, but it's going to be more of an impact in that room with the younger guys.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, man. Again, they value size. Obviously, you look at what they've done all year, all offseason. Just look at what they're bringing in. It's 2 things now: it's size and it's speed. That's what they're doing. They're upgrading. I mean, you're going from having Ricky Pearsall being one of your faster guys on the field to now we're talking about one of the slower guys. Think about that. Just in one offseason. Him and Mike Evans are going to be competing for the slowest guys on the field. I mean, Mike Evans is going to be it, but that's due to age. You know what I'm saying? He was no slouch when he was younger, but I'm saying like that's due to age. You know what I mean? The complete overhaul of the offense. You saw that struggle at separation. Those days are going to be over, man. Those days are going to be over. And if they can get something out of a guy like Watkins, and Junior Bergen had a good speed time, but I haven't seen him on the field, so I can't tell you what he's going to do, what he can and can't be. Cowling had good speed, but he can't get on the field, right? So we have to see what happens, man. It's going to be tough.
I'm willing to give the edge to Watkins over Cowling. I think Cowling's frame could hold up, in my opinion. But it all depends on how they construct that position group. Constructed, sorry.
Yep. All right, let's keep it moving here, man. The next guy, which was, I'm surprised there's only one, if I'm being completely honest with you. The only safety brought in this offseason, Tony. Jalen Stroman of Notre Dame. So he comes in here. Let me see what I have on Stroman. Where'd it go? What does this pop up here? I hate when this site does this, bro. Let me refresh my page here. Sorry about that, guys.
No, it's all right. I can pull him up on mine if you want to.
So he's 6'1", 199, ran a 4.52. It says Stroman was a tough defender for the Fighting Irish in 2025. He was a nice zone coverage safety who also showed the ability to get physical. In 2025, he had 37 tackles with 1 sack, 1 interception, and 2 passes defended. In 2023, see, it doesn't say 2024. That's interesting. He had 55 tackles with 43 stops.
He's another transfer.
Yeah. So his history is this: Virginia Tech for 4 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then Notre Dame last year. What are your thoughts on him, man?
I like Stroman. I like defensive backs from Virginia Tech. I like the history. They're not excellent. They're not, all pros. They're just solid guys that can tackle well and just play good football. We had a couple guys. I mean, this is going years back. Pearson Prelo was a decent defensive back from Virginia Tech. Who's the guy that ended his Vernon Davis's fight in his career?
Cam Chancellor?
Yeah, he's a Virginia Tech guy. So they're just good. The Virginia Tech defensive backs are just well coached, and they're just solid players. Goes to Notre Dame, and the first thing I see with him is he's very instinctual. Like, he reminds me of Huff, instinct-wise, where he'll jump. How he makes up for his lack of speed is the jump. He'll jump a route. Now, pros and cons. If you're off, you get beat. If you're on, it's a great play. But he's excellent in run support, great with the run fits. He plays downhill. He's a solid player. And this dude, I think, could be the fourth safety if they choose to stay in status quo, what they have in-house. I think eventually he could push Jair Brown.
I was gonna say, this is a box safety, right? He's not a free safety. I'm looking at. He's got tackles for losses. He's got sacks. I mean,
but when he sits deep in a split, like not deep, when he sits in a split safety look, that's when he jumps. Like, he does like a lot of like gambling. Right? How many interceptions did he have this year? 3, 2?
Let me pull up the numbers again. I apologize. Here we go. Interceptions.
6, I'm pretty sure.
1. I see 1. It says Notre Dame. I see 1 INT. Actually, he's only got 1 in his whole career, it says. Is this right?
What did I say?
4 years.
I think he had a pick in the Senior Bowl. That's where I saw it.
So, it could have been that, because I'm looking here from 21 to 25. They only have him with 1 1 sack, 1 interception.
Well, I got confused. What's his name?
I tell you what, he did some damage with that ball in his hand, 44-yard return after the pick. So,
Yeah.
I mean, 2 forced fumbles. I mean, look, the guy, he hits.
Well, that's the thing. They like the first thing in this guy's write-up, he's an enforcer of the middle of the field. That's his first sentence.
Right.
He's able to accelerate through the receiver / ball carrier with legitimate thud upon contact. Solid alley defender, as he has the top down acceleration, really close off the lane in the running game to make the stop. Either I can't see. I gotta blow this up. Either force it or force it back inside. Good in run support. Has the ability to get a great fit in the run game. Shows up with good form to bring down the runner. Areas of improvement. Lacks of type of range for a single high. So he won't be a single high dude. As a split safety, I can see him get away with it. Because what they do sometimes when they show too deep at the snap of the ball, they invert to single high. So one goes up, one comes down. So I could see that type of role with him, but I just like this kid's instincts. Like he's never like out of place. He's always like around. You know, as an undrafted free agent, we'll see what he could do if he could, step his game up to the next level. But I think his speed is going to be his speed is the reason why obviously he didn't get drafted. But
right, yeah. So all right, so I mean, it's interesting. Not the slowest, definitely not the fastest. But we'll see how it plays out. And I'll tell you what, man. If there's ever a vote of confidence, you get a new defensive coordinator. He evaluates your roster, and everyone's saying we need a safety, we need safeties, we need safeties. They don't go and get one in free agency, and they only get this guy. That's a huge vote of confidence. Morris sees something that he likes in this 49er safety room. He sees something that he likes, bro. And so that makes me so excited to see how he deploys these guys for this coming season. Like, I'm really, really excited about Niners football. And I know the draft is supposed to get you all inspired and everything, and you sit back and you're like, look at the positions they didn't address. Look at what they didn't address. That tells me that there's something that's already there. That's what it screams to me. All right. And then I think that is it for the undrafted free agents. We talked about the defensive linemen first.
we forgot about Kamara. Did we talk about Kamara?
I thought we did. I thought we did when because we started with the defensive linemen.
You're right. You did. My bad. You're right.
But we can dive into them a little bit more if you'd like. Was there something that you feel like we didn't say about him?
Kamara, listen, people had him getting drafted like 5th round. The problem with him is he's another one with short arms, right? And his speed. He's a 4.7 defensive end, 4.69, 4.68, 4.7 in that range. So obviously you know what the issue is. He's shorter in stature. He's 6 foot, 260 pounds. But the one thing you see with him is just, dude, constant motor and revving at a high, just revving. He's consistently revving. He has good array of pass rush moves. He has a deadly spin inside. He can bull rush because he can get underneath the tackles pads because of his height. He's just a solid ball player, and he's a dude. Now I'm treading water when I'm saying this, but the defensive end group is in a bit of a flux right now. We have Bosa, we have Mikael Williams, both coming off of ACLs, right? This is a golden opportunity for someone like him, an undrafted free agent, or even a guy who did not sign and is coming in on a tryout to try to earn not only a contract, but potentially a roster spot, right? Because behind them, who do we have? Last year, Cleveland Farrell led the team in sacks with 4.5. He's not on the roster this year. Okay? From the edge position. Keon White, coming off the gunshot wound to the ankle, he's going to miss some time early in camp. So that's 2. Gross Matos not here. That's 3. Not Yatir Gross Matos. Sam O. He's the only one returning. And if we had practice tomorrow, Sam O's your top defensive end. right? Let's look at the depth chart real quick. We have, hold on here. We have Bosa and medical and with a medical flag next to it. Williams with a medical flag, both coming off the ACLs. Sam O, who resigned it to his tender. Keon White, Cam Sample, who they signed. Pass rushing defensive end tweener / outside linebacker, also could kick inside. So after that, Bradley King and Farmer. Yeah, I don't know anything about them, and they're probably just going to be bodies in camp. So right now you have 3 healthy defensive ends. Okay? This screams a golden opportunity for Kamara. And me personally, I do not think they're done at the position. So we have to keep our eyes open for that. But this is a golden opportunity for Kamara, man, to try to get in here. If he can't trickle on as the last edge guy and can't, maybe he beats out a Sample. Maybe he beats out a Sam O. Right? We don't know. But it's going to be interesting. I think Sam O, I like Sam O. I'm really pulling for him. Another guy that started from the bottom with his back against the wall and just kept fighting. But there are some critical spots on this defensive line group. There's probably, I would say, at least 2 or 3 spots available for someone to come on in this roster. And that just tells me that, they're more than likely going to add an edge guy in free agency, but we'll see.
So I'm going to read the little write-up I have on him here, but let me ask you a question. How do you view Keon White? Do you view him as an edge or as a defensive tackle?
I view him as a tweener inside out. I don't think he's explosive. And I think the depth chart is he's the backup to Mikael Williams, not Nick Bosa.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I see Mikael Williams in him, and there's certain situations where I like Williams way more on the inside than I do on the outside. I'm sorry. That's been my opinion on him. But yeah, so I feel the same way. I feel like he's like insurance for Williams is how I view Keon White. All right, cool. And this is somebody that the Niners went out and acquired. You know what I mean? So we know that they saw something in him. They liked him. They went and traded for him. A couple of days before the trade deadline, or the week before. I think it was a week before the trade deadline, right? Mm-hmm. When they traded for White. So it is what it is. All right. Let me read this here. Mikael Williams, Indiana, 6'1", 265, 4'7", 40. It says in 2025, Kamara had 34 tackles and 2 sacks. However, he had way more pressures than what the numbers indicate. He lacks height and length on the edge, but has quickness and plays extremely hard. In 2024, he had 47 tackles with 10 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 pass broken up. The season before that, he had 51 tackles and 7.5 sacks and 4 forced fumbles. So the 2 sacks seems to be the anomaly with Mikael Kamara. The 2 sacks seems to be the anomaly. That's an off year for him. At his size, Kamara is a tweener / linebacker who may not have a position to be a 3-down starter, so he could be a designated pass rusher candidate for NFL teams eyeing him. And then again, when you pull up his information here, 2 years at James Madison, and then 2 years with the Hoosiers. So this guy, I mean, he produces. He just didn't last year. Why? I don't know. I can't tell you why he didn't produce last year. I didn't watch a ton of them, so I don't want to, speak on anything that I don't know about. But the production was there before that. I mean, this guy comes in with 23.5 sacks. I don't know the last time the Niners drafted a guy with that many sacks in college.
Yeah.
That's saying something after only having 2.
Yeah.
His final year. That says a lot if you're asking me. So he's a guy that I'm actually excited about as well. We'll see how it plays out for him. But again, those tweeners, see what you can do. You give Raheem Morris some flexibility. Again, we're talking about packages and what they might be running out. It's really, really excited. It's really, really exciting to me. Really exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, definitely.
All right. Now, the list of reported tryout invites, I think we read through them all. Yeah, we read through them all. Was there anybody else that you wanted to highlight, Tony, or was there anything else you wanted to go over before we wrap this episode up?
Just quickly, the draft class, because I wasn't on to do the draft recap. Listen, we know who we drafted, right? We have 1, 2, 3.
Let's remind everybody. Here we go. I got you. Round 2, pick 33 was wide receiver Deshaun Stribling. Round 3, pick 70 was Romello Height. Round 3, pick 90, running back Keelan Black. Round 4, pick 107, Grayson Holton, a defensive tackle from Oklahoma. Round 4, pick 127, offensive tackle. Well, they announced him as a guard, but whatever. Carver Willis from Washington. Round 4, pick 139, cornerback Ephesians Prysock from Washington. Excuse me. Round 5, pick 154, linebacker Jaden Duggar from Louisiana. And round 5, pick 179, offensive tackle Enrique Cruz from Kansas.
Yeah, I mean, just real quick, because we're, get off soon. We're going to wrap it up. Listen, the whole debate about Stribling, whether he was a reach, right? Obviously, we're not privy to information inside the NFL. Teams have their own opinions on different draft boards. Like we started the show, Mike and I. The Nothing But Niners draft board is I do it. I use some input from Mike and Wayne and stuff like that. But it's the majority of the guys the way I see them. And then we talk and Mike will be like, well, I like this guy. I have him rated higher than him. Like, we move it a little bit. We discuss and stuff like that. But the thing is, right, everyone has their own opinion, right? The consensus thing, I understand it. And I understand, people feel that that's the right way to do things. It is what it is, right? But what I'm looking at in this class that they were able to bring in via the draft is a wide receiver. Mike Evans is not young, and he's not getting younger, right? So we don't have anybody in the wings. There's nobody in the wings as of right now. So what do? You go out and identify Stribling. That's who they identified. I could just wish to see the reaction of what it would have been if they would have took him at 27. That would have been insane. I think I don't know. I think.
Let me just say, I think Kyle. Kyle alluded to they didn't like him at 27. However, they were comfortable taking him at 30 if there was nobody to trade back with. But he said, fortunately, we were able to trade back and still get our guy and get a 5th-round pick that we didn't have. So that speaks volumes. Also, they said that they turned down picks in the later rounds of this draft so that they can recoup some for next year. So that says that they didn't even want to play the 6th and 7th round. Like they didn't want to partake in that. Like they purposely chose not to. So I forget which pick it was. We traded back and we got a future 6th. We got the 2027 6th round. That tells me that the team probably originally offered a 2026 7th round. But you go back a year, bump it up one. So that's usually how the flip works. The flip is if you're going to next year, you bump it up a round. So it sounds to me like they turned down a 7th-round pick for this year and said, give us a 6th for next year. And whatever team that was is probably going to jump at that opportunity. They feel like, we get to keep another pick for this year. Like, you know what I'm saying? So whatever team it was that they I can't remember what team it was, honestly, or which pick it was that we traded back. So, but yeah.
Yeah, so basically where I'm at is this, right? They did what they felt is what they felt the right thing to do. Of course, we're not going to hear it, like I said before, but after the draft, a week out of it, right, all these people are coming out saying, listen, there was legit hype on this kid. And like I said earlier, Stribling is 100% a Rams type of wide receiver. 100%. And if you look at the past history with the 49ers in drafting, right, they sat on their hands. All right, forget about that. Let's go to the beginning where they traded back in the 1st round for Reuben Foster. They traded up and got Brandon Aiyuk. They traded up to get Joe Williams, who wasn't even on their board, but Kyle Shanahan said, I want him because of what he did. And to be honest with you, can you blame Kyle Shanahan after the game that kid played at Levi Stadium in one of the bowl games when he was at Utah? The kid absolutely roasted that game, rushing for 228 yards with 5 touchdowns or 4 touchdowns. Kyle saw something. The problem with Joe Williams was, there was the off-field issue with the credit cards. He wasn't committed. He wasn't there. He was doing football for money. It showed in camp. So that was then. This is now. You see the difference in the type of players that they're taking. They're not taking shots on anything that is any type of question of character, commitment, in the background checks of these players, right? They're playing it safe. They don't want that bad boy type of player. Like, this team has gotten burnt with players and draft picks. Yes, Reuben Foster was – if Reuben Foster kept his head straight, it was able to be dependable and committed, that kid would probably be in talks with a Ray Lewis type linebacker. That's how good he could have been as a linebacker. Mike, I'm telling you, I watched that kid. I was a massive fan of his.
I got a little pushback.
If he would have kept his head on straight and didn't have any like off the field distractions or was able to block them out, that kid would have been a linebacker for years to come and probably would have been a Ray Lewis type linebacker. Like,
my only pushback is that he just couldn't play the mic. He couldn't control a defense.
He couldn't handle the responsibility of the play calls. But
right.
Even if you took you stripped the mic of the play calling and you gave it to, let's say, your strong safety, right? Even if your strong safety did the play call, if you let that kid do what he did best, was see ball, get ball.
He was a tackling machine for sure.
He would have been a monster, 100%.
Yeah.
But it didn't work out that way, so they got burnt that way. Joe Williams was probably one of the most talented running backs in that draft. Got in trouble with credit cards off the field, stealing them, identity, whatever, blah, 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 and just was not focused. Never saw him, right? There's a trickle-down effect here. And then you got, like, the year where they drafted Moody with their second pick, which essentially was their second pick in the draft in the third round for Moody. And listen, there were some dark days with their drafting. But there's dudes that they took swings on that didn't pan out, but they were legit fucking talented players. There's no question about it. Right? So it didn't work out for them. You know, they're labeled as reaches or whatever it is, bust, boom, bust, whatever. It's totally understandable. So from being burnt so much, the 49ers have changed their thought process when it comes to drafting guys. They're going with more safe guys, more high character guys. That's where the gold helmet comes in. You know, he does X, Y, and Z well. There's no issues with off the field or any type of question with commitment with these players. It's either they're 100% clean and this is what they are and this is what they could be. So it's that point where can they hit what they're expecting to be on the field? Sometimes they're not the best player. They're taking the safer pick, right? The Niners are not going to take a guy with any type of criminal background, any type of issues, domestic violence, anything like that. They're done doing that. All right? So with this draft class, they went with the more mature route, guys that are older, more experienced, more playing time, and they're hitting their stride in their prime of their careers, right? Some have a little bit of mileage on them, but it is what it is. If you could honestly tell me before the 49ers, I'll ask you, before the 49ers got Christian McCaffrey, they went with a two-back system. Am I wrong or am I right?
It was always multiple backs. Always.
So if you don't see what the Kalen Black pick is, pairing him up with James as kind of like the Quasimodo, Tevin Coleman and Dante Freeman type backs when he was in Atlanta, it's a reach. Is it a reach? Yes. But is that your guy? If that's your guy, you take him. But I mean, everybody has different opinions. There's some people in this world that are fixated on the word value. The word value. There ain't no, I could curse, right? There ain't no
let
fucking
it rip.
team that got better value on a player ever in the NFL than the 49ers with Brock Purdy at 262.
Right. Yeah. That's what gets you a GM of the Year award. You know what I'm saying? It's like stuff like that is how they do it.
You want to talk about value? Listen, even Bill Walsh said Giovanni Carmazzi is going to be the best quarterback because he was the most athletic quarterback the year they came out. Well, guess who went 110 picks later? Tom Brady. So Bill Walsh ain't perfect either. And you know who else ain't perfect? John Schneider. Because if you look at not this draft, not the draft before that, but the draft before that one, so 3 drafts ago into the second draft, that's what built that team. His 3 previous drafts to that, let me tell you something. Penny, a first-round pick, the running back from San Diego State, he had some doozies with his drafts. Sometimes you got to change it up a little bit, shake it up a little bit. But where the difference is, I think the Niners need to bring a personnel guy in that strictly runs the draft and that's responsible for the draft. Now, does that mean stripping John Lynch of a GM role? Maybe you talk about it, you bump him as president of operations. But now you got to bring a strong personnel guy in there to run their drafts. Am I saying I don't like his philosophy as far as drafting clean players? No, I like clean players because you don't have nothing to worry about. Your investments aren't going to go out the door saying, "Oh shit, this guy got arrested. He's done." Like, you know what I'm saying? So your best availability is being available. So like you have to not get in trouble with the law. Injuries are injuries. You can't fight them, but they need to change something up because like if you look at Stribling, if you look at Height, I don't have a problem with those 2 first-round picks. Stribling, no way in hell would have been available at 58, and Height would not have been available at 90. Honestly, I think they got extremely lucky that Height was at 70.
You and me both. I
think the best value of this draft 100% is Grace Holton. If you want to talk about the value route. I mean, Carver Willis, you could talk about as a questionable pick. Prysock, I know why they drafted him. He's tall, he's fast, he's got extremely long arms. They're looking to solidify a boundary corner. They want a true, tall boundary corner. And let Demo play free, go to the second corner, and let him shadow. You need a boundary guy in order to let your best corner shadow. So with that being said, like, you know, some people say he's a little grabby, which he is. He was a little grabby at the Senior Bowl. He got beat a couple times, but, you know, they
said the same thing about Diamador Lenore, too, when we drafted him.
Exactly. The Senior Bowl is very tricky because it's like a 1-week prep. All right, get on the field and play. So, you know, if you're looking and trying to make a play for yourself, you're looking to backfield 1 second, the guy beats you, like he just keeps running, you tug him. All right, you see it there. But it's something that needs to be corrected, and he needs to work on it. And if he can put it all together, they could have found themselves a decent corner. All right, now you move down to Duggar. Duggar, in my opinion, I think has the highest ceiling. I think this kid, and if anyone tells me Duggar was a reach, I would simply tell, like, there's that one dude that was ripping John Lynch saying Duggar was an undraftable player. Let me tell you something. If this kid hits in 3 years, that is the replacement to Fred Warner.
I don't think it's going to take that long.
He needs to put size on though, Mike. He's very like lean.
No. I just don't know if it's going to take 3 years is what I'm saying. I don't know if it's going to take 3 years to do it.
The kid if he could develop, you're talking about a very rare hybrid talented player. And if you look at the track record of linebackers converting from safety, I'll give you 2 of them. Fred Warner is obviously one of them because he played a star role at BYU. And the next one, who came from New Mexico State, is Brian Urlacher. And look at his career. Now, Duggar's not perfect. He's very green. He needs work. He needs to disengage from blocks a little bit. He has to work on that. He needs a little bit more size. But when you give me a ball of clay that's 6'4", 240 pounds with a 70s, I don't even know, the wingspan is ridiculous. And the speed that he has and his range, I'll take that all day and try to make him into an NFL linebacker. Because that's what he is. He's a stack backer who could also double down and play the edge, who could be a blitzer up the middle. All right? He's got a lot of tackles for a loss. So what does that tell you? He's playing in the backfield as a linebacker. So, again, he's not a perfect prospect by by any means. But when you're talking about pick 154 in the 5th round, which the 49ers have a very good track record in the 5th round, just putting that out there, could his upside be maybe a little bit better than or on the same level as an Arvell Reese?
Because wingspan is 84 3/8, by the way.
They're the same type of players. So, and then Enrique Cruz, I like Enrique Cruz. I'm going to tell you why. He's very athletic. He has a 9.99 RAS score, and that's what the Niners look for in their linemen, 6'5", 315, I think off the top of my head. Got like 33.5 or 34-inch arms, I think, off the top of my head. Carver Willis was one that I was just like, I don't know here. Like, I think that was a little too high for Carver Willis. So the people that love using the word reach, I'll give you that. But watching him in the Senior Bowl, you see why the 49ers took a shot on him. Because he's technically sound. He's a tough SOB. He's a fighter. Is he perfectly in his technique as far as his footwork? Maybe he leans a little bit. But I'll tell you this. In the one-on-ones, I mean, I take one-on-ones to a certain extent because literally there's no other responsibility than getting to the quarterback. He held his own versus a couple of decent people. And I'm just putting it out there. He's just a tough SOB, and what we're going to see if his game could transition inside. I read an article saying that he's projected to be the starter at left guard. I mean, I think he needs a little TLC to get that done, but I mean, we'll see. But to walk away with a draft that was labeled a weak and shitty draft after the first 20 players, and you have potentially a future, you have a very positive future, a bright future outlook for Stribling. Height, I think, could come in easily as a situational rusher on third downs, or even maybe take the starting strong side linebacker spot because it's open. And it'll give Raheem Morris full versatility. Grace Holton will be a rotation guy. Black, I think Kyle's setting up for life after Christian McCaffrey. I think James, that they drafted from Oregon last year, is your well-rounded back who can catch the ball out of the backfield. Black could catch the ball out of the backfield too. He just caught a pass right now at the Senior Bowl. I'm watching it. And just because he didn't do it there doesn't mean he can't do it. So, I mean, with that being said, is that your 1-2 punch now that they have? I remember everyone flipping out saying, oh, what about Washington from Arkansas? He was so much better. Yeah, he's so much better. Go check how many times he fumbled the ball in the last 2 years. 10. How's that going to float for Kyle Shanahan? He puts the ball on the ground once, he's going to be buried, especially with the background. You know, Isaac Guerendo, I feel terrible for, right? But Isaac Guerendo is not like you want to talk about a reach. Isaac Guerendo is a reach, not a running back that literally carried Indiana to a championship.
There's so many different reasons why people. You said that we reached a lot in this. I mean, to go back to Duggar, right? First of all, you know how I feel about our linebackers coach. I think we got the best in the game. All right. Well, he's a coordinator now, but yeah. But the thing is, right, if you go to NFL.com, they had Duggar as a priority free agent, right? Undraftable grade on NFL.com, based off of the one person that did the write-up. I think that was that Zerline that did it, I believe, for NFL Network. Yeah. But if you go to other sites, they have him as a late day 3 guy. So he did have a draftable grade. The problem is that we drafted him in the 5th round, right? And so, but it was also there's 2 ways to look at that. If you had a pick in every round, you get 7 picks, right? He was picked with the 7th. He was our second to last pick. You know what I mean? And so if we that's another thing that us as Niner fans have to kind of tweak when we're thinking about this stuff, right? If the Niners had their draft board, they had their people that they wanted, and you don't have a 6th or a 7th round pick, because that's when we started, we didn't have a 5th round pick. We didn't have 5, 6, or 7. So if you have these guys on your draft board and you like these guys, no matter who you got, it was probably going to be viewed as a reach. You get what I'm saying? So I don't think that I understand the reach words. I really do. But the last 2 picks of the draft were 154 and 179. Guys, those are our 7th round picks. You get what I'm saying? Like that's equivalent to being our 7th round picks for this draft. That's just what it is.
I have a huge question, and no one is able to answer this question. Who does the consensus board? Because if Mel Kiper has his, Miller has his, Todd McShay has his, Dean
right. Draft Bible has theirs. Yeah.
Joe Schmo has his, John Doe has his. Who does the consensus board? And
right.
Like this is what I'm saying. This is the point. Everybody and their mother, they went away from consensus. Okay. Who does the consensus board?
Right.
Who? Is it Daniel Jeremiah? Is it Mel Kiper Jr.? Who is consensus? Who? So what is it? They put them together and say, this is the consensus board. Right? So just hear me out. And this is what burns my fucking ass. If the Niners did go by consensus, and the Niners on consensus will say, what do you think Stribling was on consensus ranked? 50? 60?
Overall prospect, or because he definitely wasn't that low for wide receivers. Wide receivers, he was probably a top 10 wide receiver. Okay. Overall, he was probably in the 40s, 50s.
I'll say he's in the 60s. All right. So this is what we're gonna do. From 1 to 60, you're dropping at least 5 guys for off the field, something off the field. So now you're at 55. Okay, you're dropping another 5 for medical. So now you're at 50. You're dropping traits, height, weight, measurements, speeds, Olympics, the underwear Olympics. You'll drop 10 guys because they didn't do what you thought they would do, or their arms are too short, or their 40 was short, his 10 second was short, his 10-yard split was short. Something that took them, that made you say, maybe not. So we'll drop 10. So you're at 40. You're at 40. Never mind going at positional need. How about this? Take 2 more off for quarterbacks that were drafted in the 1st round. One of them, one of the biggest reaches. Nothing said about that. So now you take 2 off. You're at 40. You're at 38. So you're telling me a wide receiver who was taken at 33 was a positional need for the 49ers, and that was a reach? The Niners don't go. No team. How do you say this? The Niners board is not the same as the consensus board because everyone has their own opinions, number one. Number two, every team has different needs.
Not only do they have different needs, they have different tweaks within those needs, right? Like the Niners need a wide receiver, but they want a certain type of wide receiver, right? So, for example, you can eliminate a guy like Mekhi Lemon. If they were going into this saying we only want 6'2" and fast wide receivers, 6'2" or taller, right? That leaves you with Denzel Boston, Malachi Fields. I don't think Carnell Tate was within reach, but fine, you can include him also, and then that leaves you with Stribling. I don't know that the Niners like 6'5" wide receivers.
No,
if I'm being honest with you.
They
So that takes Malachi Fields out of the thing, right? Zachariah Branch was a guy that people had ahead of Stribling. KC Concepcion, but he's only 6 foot. Omar Cooper's only 6 foot. If the Niners were saying we want over 6 foot and we want speed, you're narrowed down to just 3 guys.
They want an outside guy.
Right. And so, like, you can't sit there and say, well, all the wide receivers, these are how we have them all ranked, but they don't meet the qualifications that the Niners were looking for.
Yeah. So then, like, just for shits and giggles, like, we do mock drafts. We try. I did a couple. I'm not going to lie. Okay. I don't base my projections off of a mock draft. But if you ever looked, if you do PFF and then you do the PFSN that does the full 7 rounds and all that shit, it's free.
Mm-hmm.
If you compare who's available at 27 on one to the other, it's apples and oranges.
Yeah. For sure.
So
absolutely.
Again, what's consensus?
Yeah. Terradome did have a good comment there. It's all the respectable or reputable draft boards and then average out at the positions and all that. But again, it still breaks down to individual team needs. And while we're on wide receiver, let's go ahead and get this out the way. I know Tony can't wait to discuss Brandon Aiyuk. And so here we go. Thank you for the super chat, Delvin. The question here is there any way that Brandon Aiyuk can get the nasty taste out of our mouths towards him for a second chance? Can he be forgiven? I'll let Tony go first because I think I know his answer, but then I'm going to give you mine.
Mine's simple and easy. It's absolutely not. 0. And
Okay.
I think the 49ers have full control of this. They have the upper hand because all they have to do is put him on that left the team non-report list, and they're not responsible for any money. He literally can sit there for years.
Yeah. Which is how Antonio Brown actually ended up going out, right? Like he walked off the field and never seen again. I think, do the Jets still own his rights? Wasn't that the Jets?
No, the Bucks.
No, it was against the Jets. It was the Jets game, but it was the Bucks. Like they still own his rights. So I mean that can happen. Look, here's my thing, right? I just saw some reports saying that his agent quit, so he doesn't even have representation right now. Like the kid needs some guidance. He needs some help. All right, let me just start there.
I think
is there a
quit though? I mean, come on.
Well, so
to represent.
I don't know why he quit. So here's my thing, right? TJ Husmanjada saying like, oh, no one can reach him, no one can get in touch with him. So what teams normally do is they reach out to agents or managers, and if your agent leaves you, then it literally is impossible for you to get contacted by someone. Then it's literally as simple as you just answering your phone. If he's not doing that, he's not doing that. I don't know if that's true. Do I think there is a chance that he can be forgiven? I do. Now, what it would take is a huge slice of humble pie, showing up to camp, not being a distraction, and just going to work. That still doesn't get you forgiven. That gets you back here into the good graces of maybe some people on the team. But I think that there's a nasty taste in John and Kyle's mouth. How do you become forgiven? Contribute significantly in winning efforts to the 49ers. That's the only way to do it. He can't make the roster and come in and have 20 receptions. You get what I'm saying? Making the roster is not enough. Being on the team is not enough. It's not going to be enough. He's going to have to significantly contribute. Come in here, work with these young wide receivers. He's going to have to like really be that guy, the guy that they put those numbers up, that they expected him to be able to put up, and be a part of a winning culture and winning team here. I'm not talking about a wild card and out thing. It's going to take the success of the entire 49ers organization. I'm talking Super Bowl appearance, maybe a Super Bowl win, NFC championship bare minimum. And he's going to have to play really, really well all season long. And people will say, man, I'm glad he worked out whatever demons he had because we needed him. That's what it's going to take in order for him to be forgiven. Anything short of that, I don't think so, Delvin. I honestly don't think so. Is there a chance for that to happen? We're talking 5%. We're talking 5%. Maybe less. I won't speak for Tony. I know Tony is going 100% over this kid. But
I'll be honest with you, I don't think he has a hair on his ass to step foot in that building. I really don't.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't think he has the ball. I don't think he has the guts to step foot in that building. I really don't. I don't think he has it in him. After what transpired, I don't think he could step foot in that building.
Yeah. And it's very possible. That's why I put it so low. That's why I said 5% or less. That's why I said that. That's my only scenario in which he could do it. So I don't know. Sin has another super chat for us. This is her second one of the day, so we're going to play the party horns for this one. Let's go, Sin. She says here, should the scouts, rather than the coaches, create highlight reels that Kyle reviews pre-draft? So I do have the clip of Kyle talking about this. I'm going to play it really quick, and then Tony, we'll give our thoughts on it, okay? So we can hear it from Kyle's mouth himself. All right, here we go.
I mean, I feel like I'm just always playing catch up. You know, that's what John and his whole department, they do all year. So they got a really good idea in January when the season ends. They kind of reevaluate it after all the pro days, the combine and everything, but they don't change that much because, you know, we try to base everything off the film, but there's certain things that guys can do that can hurt themselves or help themselves after that. But for me, you know, I pick up that tape for the first time in February. You know, I don't usually know who the Heisman is or anything like that at that time. I've just been 100% NFL ball, and it's hard to catch up with all those guys. So you got to depend on a lot of other people. One way we do it here is, you know, we give all the position coaches, you know, a responsibility to make highlight tapes on everybody. And I tell them, you know, they got to watch a lot of game tape to make those highlight tapes. And then I study their highlight tapes so I can study, you know, 200 people. And I always tell them if I don't like their highlight tape, then I'm not going to watch anything after. So those guys got to put a lot of work into their highlight tape, because if they can impress you with that, I always say, what's the point of watching more? Which I would love to watch more, but that's the way you can get it done in a 2-month time frame. And when you do get it done, I definitely don't want to look at any more college ball until next February. NFL is a little bit more fun for me to watch, a little bit more what I'm used to, and it pertains to what we do. But the draft's everything, so you got to make sure you put all that time into it. But I will say it's hard over 2 months when you got to watch all those guys, and you know you might only get like 4 to 8 guys, and it's not like you got your choice of everybody. So sometimes you watch people, you fall in love with them, and it just breaks your heart, because the more you watch them, you realize this guy is way too good. There's no chance we're going to be able to get this guy. And you just kind of just get worked up about it, and you're like, damn, why didn't anyone lead me on like that? And then you just got to wait to see who falls to you.
So, Sin, I know that Kyle said that the position coaches are the ones that present the film to him, but his position coaches are presenting two different types of film, in my opinion. And this is just what I'm gathering from what he said. And Tony, you can agree or disagree afterwards and give me your thoughts. I think they give them like free agents, pros. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think they go NFL guys as well as college guys. But I don't think that the position coaches are watching a ton of college film all year long. I think that the position coaches are told by the scouts who looks like they're fits for them, and then the position coaches go out there from the scouts' tape and opinions, and then they put the film together. So I do think that it's all of them. I do think it's the scouts and the coaches that the film ends up coming from, that Kyle sees. What do you think, Tony?
It could be that. I think their process is like this. Obviously, nor should he be involved. Kyle's not involved during the season. His focus is coaching the team, game plan, prep, and all that. So with that being said, from August till December, and going into January, I think it's 100% scouts. I think it's 100% Josh Williams, Ethan Waugh. Quessy was brought in late. But all those guys, they do all the draft. What I think happens, and if you listen to their interview with the three guys, Tariq Ahmad, Josh, and I forgot the other kid's name, but whatever. RJ Gilliam. If they sat down the minute they hired, God damn, what's wrong with me? Raheem Morris. They sat down with him. They said, listen, we're prepping for the draft. Can you sit with us, show us your scheme, show us the type of person you like, players you like, film of that individual so we can take that, cross-reference it to the prospects in this draft class. And I think when you look at it, Leonard Floyd and Romello Height has some similarities as an edge guy. So I think they did that. And then from there, I think for people saying that the coaches are involved in the draft process and that's an issue, I disagree. I think the coaches should be involved. I think the general manager should be the final say. Because why am I going to say, all right, listen, Mike, you got the running backs. I like this guy, but you don't like him. You don't like something about him. In meeting with him, and you're going to say, well, all right, yeah, he's good and all, but this guy seems better for me. I better report him. He's more hungrier. He's more attentive. He listens the first time. I don't have to show him twice. Like stuff like that. And I think that should be considered into the draft selection. So with that being said, it starts with the draft personnel. I think the coaches are included for what specific players they look for. I think the scheme is given to the scouts and the personnel group, the draft personnel group. I think they cross-reference the schemes to the players that they think matches. They look at them playing and see if they can transition to this scheme from that scheme that they had success in. And then they come up with the list. And then from the list, that's when they start going down. Medical, off the field, all the crap. Then they start reevaluating that way. I think Kyle gets given a shitload of things on his desk, and he breaks through them. Then they have tons of meetings. You know, they could probably have a meeting in March, just after the first wave of free agency. All right, let's start doing this now. Let's start looking at our quarterbacks. Let's start looking at our running backs, okay? Every position group, the scouts are there, the head coach is there, the general manager, and the coach from the position are there. They have their meeting. And then that's how they develop. That's how I would do it. Personally, that's how I would create the board. You want the coaches involved. You want to hear their feedback because they're the ones that are going to the pro days talking to these guys, right? So that's the way I feel. I think it should be the scouts. It should be the scouts with the coaches, the scouts with the coaches and the GM, the scouts with the positional coach, GM, and head coach on every position breakdown. And then once that's all done, they all sit in that war room, and then they start putting their board together, and they start ranking it. And then they start with their 30 visits, and then they start with their, phone calls, and they're checking in with the coaches and the medical. And then that's how that board changes probably a million times before the NFL draft.
Yep.
That's the way I would do it. Like if I ran the process or if I was involved in a process, that's the way I think I would try to figure it out and how to do it. Like if we ever sat, like if I want to do this one time, all of us get together and just sit in like a conference room and watch the draft and just do it. Like, well, what do you think in this position? Well, what do you think in this position? What do you think in this position? I like this guy for this guy for this, and just make it real. I'm like, oh my God, that's great. But
yeah,
it's a very, very interesting process. And there's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of, hey, well, I think you're wrong. Well, who the fuck are you telling me you're wrong? Blah, 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 blah. And there's a lot of that. So I don't know. I just would love to do. I told you I would pay $10,000 to sit in that war room for the whole draft. I would pay $10,000.
Yeah, that would be pretty boss. That would be pretty boss, man. To see like just how they're thinking, just listening to how they do it.
Take my cell phone. Just give me a pen and paper. I would just sit there and just write notes. I wouldn't say a fucking word. I just watch it. You don't even have to feed me. I bring my own food.
You don't even have
I just want to watch it. I want to see how they talk. Like with 2 minutes on the clock, I want to see what they're talking about, what makes, like how they come down to this player, the pros and cons, what he says, I just want to see that because that, in my opinion, because I love this process so much, I think that is like the ultimate bucket list thing in the world. Like
I would
that's it.
I would love to see how they discuss other teams' picks. Well, they're likely going to do this, or they're probably going to take this guy. Like, how often do they know exactly who another team is going to take? Like, that is the kind of stuff I would be intrigued by.
Like the best thing, I when they traded from 27 to 30, and then they traded from 30 down to 33, I would have loved to have been in there to hear what they were being offered, what the teams they were saying they were interested in taking. Because honestly, I think the Jets might have fleeced the Niners.
Uh-oh.
I really do.
Really?
I think they might have fleeced them with saying who they were going to pick and who they actually picked. I think the Niners really like the kid from Indiana, the receiver, Cooper. I really do.
You think that was he was only 6 foot though, right? Isn't he the one that was 6 feet? Oh, shit,
yeah, but it's the yak. This team hasn't had a guy to get yards after catch. They haven't had it since Debo. They haven't had it since when Aiyuk played. They haven't had a yak guy. I think that's what's another part of the offense, that another issue of the offense that's setting the offense back, right? If you got guys that can't go deep and threaten deep, defenses start playing closer. That takes away your yards after catch because now they're swarming and playing grass. They're playing areas. So you take away areas, you prevent yards after catch. Your safeties are coming from 12 to 9, 12 to 8. That's a different ball game because, you know what I'm saying? They're closer. They can react to the ball quicker. So I think their main focus at the wide receivers position was getting somebody that could bring yards after the catch with the ball in his hand. And Stribling could do it.
I mean, and we know that the Niners watched a lot of Hoosier film because, you know, they got the running back. They took the other guy also, right? It wasn't one of their free undrafted guys from Indiana also?
Lamar, defensive lineman.
Yeah. So like they clearly watched some of that tape. I mean, maybe they did like him, Tony. Maybe they did.
I don't know. I'm just saying, just by I don't think they were ever in on Denzel Boston. I don't. I think a major factor. The major issue with Denzel Boston is he's kind of a one-trick pony. He's a deep guy, and being that he did not run, I think threw a flag up for them because GPS is one thing, but knowing what their threshold is at speed, it kind of tells me personally that they were hiding it. He was hiding his speed because he knew it wasn't. He knew it wasn't up to par. I could be wrong, but when someone doesn't run, that tells me they're hiding something.
Every wide receiver picked of the first 5, except for Jordan Tyson, was traded for. They all those picks were acquired by trades, including the Niners. We traded back, but still, every single one of them a team moved to get. It's pretty impressive. Strong class for those guys. Shout out to them, man.
The only one thing I will say, I like Kalen Black, the running back. Was he a little bit high at 90? Yeah, we could say that. I think we all said it on the live show. Dunker was there.
Mm-hmm. I just don't see anything special about him. I'm not going to lie to you, bro.
Who?
I don't
Dunker?
see. No, not Dunker. Black. I don't see the special. Contact balance. That's about it. Is that special? Is that enough to get you drafted?
I think his vision is elite. I think his vision is probably, other than Love, the best vision in the back and out of the draft. I think his vision is top.
We will have to see.
Also, he's that missing piece, right? Robinson wasn't that player. Robinson was never that player. Robinson was just like an I formation downhill runner. This kid can move the pile. He has very, 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 very strong legs. He's quick foot, light on his feet, and he just sees it. And when you have the ability to see it, that's the game, man. If you can see
I've been avoiding comparing him to Frank Gore, but like that's kind of what I see. Right? Like Frank Gore wasn't special. Wow. Let me be careful with how I say this. People don't unsubscribe. Frank Gore wasn't like special at any one thing in particular. He's a great blocker, right? Like maybe that's it. Is his blocking ability or blitz pickup, right? Frank Gore was phenomenal at that. But he was just average speed, average pass catcher. You know what I mean? Average with the ball in his hands, even in open space. He was getting run down from. Like I see a lot of Frank Gore in this kid, just a different size. But I've been trying to avoid saying that out loud because it almost feels blasphemous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you said, the vision to hit the holes and all that stuff. Like that's this kid. That's what I see. I just don't see anything elite. That's all I was like. I don't see like what makes him so damn like. Oh, we got to get him. I just didn't get it.
So the main thing is the vision and the contact balance for me. Like if you have vision and contact balance, you're not going down on your first hit. So if you have good vision, you're already past the line of scrimmage. And if your contact balance is that good, you're talking 3 to 5 yards down the field, just off of his skills, his strength of his skill set. Now you put the power of his legs and the type of runner he is with the strength of his legs, it's something. It's something. But
right.
I think listen, I'm watching the Senior Bowl as we're live right now, and Willis just threw a block that kind of shocked me, but it was pretty fucking impressive. But as far as like the guard spot where Dunker maybe at 90 because he went 91, I think Dunker is the type of mentality this team is lacking at the guard spot interior, even though he was a tackle, but they all said he's projecting inside because of short arms and his athleticism. But he's not a great, he doesn't move in space well. So I just feel, competing against Seattle with those monsters in the middle up there, you need that physical, dominant guard. Now, could someone shock us and step up and do it? Maybe. But listen, Dunker's a loose cannon, and he would have been nice as a guard. But they didn't do it. They went black. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. Clearly, the two linemen that they did take are more athletic than the ones that they didn't take. So, yeah, I mean, that's where I'm at. I mean, overall, I like the draft class. Is it a perfect one? No. There's a lot of question in it. But if you're telling me, and they're honest about it, and I think they are to an extent, that they got their top receiver at 33 after trading down twice in a weak draft and picked up extra picks, I can't be mad at him because all the receivers that went after him, Jeremy Bernard, the Alabama one was the closest one to him, in my opinion. And right. He's a 6-foot receiver. So they went with the 6'2". And you got to realize something, man. This kid is wired different. He's Polynesian. He's a great athlete. Those dudes don't screw around. They're strong SOBs. Look at Nakua, right? Everyone's overlooking the Polynesian in him. Like, I'm not saying it's a night or day difference, but it's a different mentality.
Right.
Man, so. Yeah.
All right, guys, I think that's going to do it for today's episode, man. Again, just I want to say it. I've been trying to avoid it, but I see a lot of Frank Gore in this kid, guys. Frank Gore was what, 5'9", 210?
Yeah,
right?
I think it was heavy, dude. He was like 220, Frank, when he came out.
Yeah. Oh, okay, all right. But this guy is 5'10", 212, right? Like, I mean, they're right there. You talk about the pass pro and all that. I see it. I just didn't want to actually say it, but I can't unsee it when I'm watching him. I just can't unsee it. So it is what it is. I don't know how that fits into this. I don't know what that's going to do for the Niners. I don't know if they're going to change up the way we run the ball. Are we going to try something? Because we've got Christian McCaffrey for 2 more years. He's under contract till 2028. And then it's all the void years after that. So he's not going anywhere.
See if his body allows him.
Yeah, we'll see how he holds up. We hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, man. That's going to do it. Tony, you ready to get out of here, man?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Yeah, I got to take my kid. My daughter's got she's got a field trip, so we got to go buy her lunch. So you're gonna run out to the store. Did you decide on what you're getting? Wawa.
Raising
All right,
Cane's.
here we go. She's getting. Oh God, don't get me started. All right, I'm out of here. Prepare for glory,
Anticipate pain.
but always
Remain faithful.
We all gas, no brakes, pumped up, no fakes. We spinning, we winning, we high stakes. We never miss, we all makes. Look at us dudes trying to prove, bringing you news with nothing to lose. Mike, Nick, Tony, Wayne, Method Man, we bring the pain. Hey. See, I'ma confess it. We under the pressure.